Hello everyone, this is Hushman with eBikes USA. Today we're talking about the new color display that SONDORS released on the LX bike. This new display has some great features that I'm excited to share with you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share. Let's get into it. To turn on the SONDORS LX display, press the I button on the PAS selector for 2 seconds. The color display will come on. You can cycle through the data points available by pressing the I button. In addition to trip meter and odometer, you can also see maximum speed, average speed, time ridden, and right in the center, it also reflects the level of power from 0 to 5, and we will talk more about this on how you can change this to 3 levels or 9 levels. The display reflects speed in miles or kilometers. It also has a power band that will show you how much power motor is producing as you're riding. It does have a battery indicator, and it also shows the headlight on or off. To turn the headlight on and off, press plus button again, the headlight comes on. The display also comes with a USB port that can be used for charging your phone while riding or powering an auxiliary light. I personally prefer the PAS selector and the throttle on the left-hand side and the USB on the right-hand side, but all of these components can easily be switched to accommodate the rider's preferences. In order to get to the advanced features of display, press the plus and minus button for brief period. You will go into the settings screen. There are 3 options: display setting, information, and exit. If you go back to display setting and press the I button, you will notice that here's where you can configure your display to your preferences. You could change the unit by pressing the I button. You can select any of these by pressing the I button, and then you can use the plus and minus buttons to change. For example, you can go to metric or imperial. Pressing the I button will bring you back onto the left-hand side. Service tip, I haven't found any information on what this option will do for us. I left it as on. I wanted to see if I get any notifications if service are required, but I haven't found any documentation that would tell us more about this option. Brightness is the screen background. In this case, right now, it's at 100%. By selecting the I button, you can now cycle through 75%, 50%, 30%, 10%, or back. In this case, I'm going to leave it at 75%. Selecting the I button will take you back to the left-hand side. Auto off is the next option. You could choose as low as 1 minute and as high as 9 minutes of inactivity before the display turns off. I'm going to leave it as 5 minutes. The maximum PAS, this is where you can change your option on how many levels of pedal assist you would like on the display. By selecting it, you can go to 3, 5, or 9. I personally prefer the 5 levels. Some people prefer the 9 levels. Obviously, 9 levels will give you micro adjustments, smaller increments. I prefer 5, so we're gonna leave it at that. This trip reset is the next item where you could actually clear out the trip meter, time ridden, and average speed information by selecting it and using the plus button to yes, and selecting the I, that would clear that data. The AL sensitivity is another area that I haven't found any documentation on. There are 3 settings, 1, 2, and 3. I personally think this is the torque level, so you could change how fast your motor starts or the amount of torque that it's producing at the initial kickoff. If you have any additional information on this, or if you have other theories of what that data point is, please share them with me in comments. As you notice that if you leave the display alone for a couple of seconds, it automatically goes back to normal operating mode. That's why sometimes I have to go back into settings. Password is how you can add a password for display startup. I prefer not to use this feature. I know some people have set this and then they brick their displays by forgetting what the password was. I'm one of those people that I'm going to just leave it alone. The speed limit is the next option. The bike comes from the factory as Class 3, 28 miles an hour without the throttle installed. We have already installed the throttle. Here's where you can change the speed: 35 miles an hour, 28 miles an hour, or 20 miles an hour. This would be the speed limit. From the factory, it comes at 28 miles per hour. The back button will take you back to the original setting page. The next series of pages through information category are read only. You cannot change any of these. The first two items, as you will notice, are wheel and diameter. This display was configured for LX. It's a 26-inch with 4.9-inch tires. So those two data points. This leads me to believe that Cruiser and Rockstar will have their own dedicated displays. The battery info is very valuable. On the next 5 pages within battery information, you could see the temperature of the battery, the total voltage, the current voltage, the current amp, which in this case we're not running the motor, so there's very little amperage going. It's showing 0.1 negative. The remaining capacity of the battery, 11.4 amp hour out of 21.1. The display went back to its original mode due to inactivity. 11.4 amp hour out of 21 amp hour, which is the full capacity. And it also shows the charge state, 54%. If we go to the next page shows the number of cycles we have charged this. This is a brand new bike, and it's only, it came already charged like that. The maximum uncharged time, and the last uncharged time, and the total cell. The total cell is not the total cells, it's the total number of cell banks that makes up to 48 volt. In this case, 13 cell banks. And if you go to the next page, it will show the cell voltage for each one of the banks. Now, what's important here is we would like to see these numbers to be very close to one another. If the battery is having issues and one of the cell banks has fallen below substantially, this is where we can identify where the problem lies. This is a good troubleshooting opportunity. The next pages reflects the hardware and the software versions for the battery. And by going back to the original information page, we also have the hardware and software information for the controller, display, torque sensor, and any error codes this bike had thrown. When I received it, we took the battery out, we got an error code 21, but we haven't had any other error codes. I will try to find more information about error codes as that information becomes available from SONDORS. This completes the information page of the display. Now there is 2 other features that I would like to point out. Let me exit from here. When you go into the operating mode, if you scroll down to level 0 and use the negative button to go further, the bike will go into walking mode. And at that point, you can hold the walk mode button and the bike will go into walking mode. It will actually walk with you. That's the only time you could use the walk button, which is located in front of the PAS selector. You have to be in walking mode for that button to be active. The second feature, as I indicated, is the plus button, where you can turn on and off the headlight and the tail light. And I think we've already talked about the USB port. Hope this video is found helpful. Please share any questions you may have, any comments. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you for subscribing and sharing this video. And let me know if you are interested in any other information regarding these bikes, and I will put together, answer your questions in future videos. Thank you for watching.